And welcome to this Bayou Time segment. Martin Foss, along with the parish president of Lafourche Parish, Mr. Archie Chaisson. Archie, first of all, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, Martin. Glad to be back with you.
Good. Now let's just hope that 2022 brings with it a nice gale force wind, not too strong, that'll blow away COVID, and that we don't see any hurricanes this year. But I know we're starting off with some numbers in COVID. It seems to be escalating. So let's start off by at least giving some information out to the public.
Yeah, you know, Martin, I watched it last week, and we took a little break here in Lafourche between Christmas and New Year's and went off to my in-laws' house in Texas and snuck off for a little bit. And you kind of watch that percentage rise. You know, what's happening there in Texas, too, what's happening across the country. Here locally, we saw a percentage rise from about 5% up to about 8.3, 8.5, if I remember the number right. But all indications from what we're hearing is that although the Omicron variant is very contagious and seems to be spreading, the severity of it is much less. So we're not seeing the number of severe cases, the number of ICU, CCU patients that are needing to be taken in with this particular variant. The monoclonal antibodies seem to be helping out a little bit because this strain is a little bit different. Those first sets of antibodies that people were accustomed to in the original version of COVID and then Delta and the other variants, this one's a little bit different. So it's not working quite as well. But people are still talking about getting boosters, help get that percentage of the vaccine that you've already had back up in your body. So it's going to be a long-term struggle. We talked about this since the beginning, Martin. We knew we were going to have these waves. We knew we were going to have this thing kind of come in and out like a season, like we've seen with the flu. It's just how do we mitigate those measures? Is it selecting crowds and culling things down again? I fully expect us to get some guidance from the governor this week in one of his press conferences. I think you're going to see a lot of the things people don't want to see come back, like masks and stuff like that. But we'll just have to wait and see what the governor does and see how those directives pan out later on in the week.
We talk about that too, and I know 3 people that I've spoken to this week that had the booster shot, that got COVID, but it seems to be mild in them. So, without misleading the public, it seems like the ones who are getting the new variant that have all their shots and the boosters are faring pretty well. Is that what you're hearing?
Yeah, and we've had employees that happen here too, either employees who already had COVID previously or had the vaccine that have come down with it over the Thanksgiving break, or the Christmas break, not Thanksgiving, the Christmas break, who said this was much milder, that the first round, the bout of COVID they had was tough. They were out of energy, they weren't feeling very well, but this one just seemed like a kind of a head cold for a couple days. So hopefully that pans out and this thing comes in and gets out. There's been some national physicians that have talked about how, we never want to say COVID is a good thing, right? But that because Omicron is very contagious and spreading, but not that severe, that this may help in the herd immunity and help push this thing out of here for good in combination with vaccines and the other mitigation methods.
Well, you took the next question right out of my mouth. That's perfect explanation of what I was thinking and what I wanted to ask. Let's move to Hurricane Ida if we can, with about 3 minutes left. Give us an update on the recovery.
Yeah, it's going to still be a long one, Martin. We're still, our debris guys took a break over the holidays. They're all coming back in today, and we expect them to fully ramp back up again by about Wednesday or Thursday. The sheltering program and the housing program is still moving along. We're well into the 800 mark on the state's program that's being run by APTM on the camper unit. We have over 300 FEMA units that are either haul installed or on their way. So we're making some progress. We still have a lot to go. I was talking to the FEMA rep before I walked into my office here in Matthews about housing. He said that the number kind of trickles up by 2 to 4 every day with people who just not qualifying for housing assistance. So we're going to see that number continue to rise. But as we've said before, we're dedicated to making sure that everybody has some structure to live in. And I know it was tough over the holidays if you were living in a gutted house or someplace that you probably wouldn't have wanted to be in. But we're slowly getting there. Our hands are tied by FEMA and the state in a lot of cases. But we can continue to push them every day and every week on these conference calls to get these units in here as fast as we can. Still about 300,000, 400,000 yards of debris left on the ground. So I would imagine that our debris guys are here probably through Easter. At some point in the next couple of weeks, we'll start on some private property debris removal. Those people who came in and qualified for that program. There's still time to do that. You come to either the Golden Meadow Town Hall or government complex here in Matthews. There's still time to sign up for that private property debris removal. To have that house demolished or something hauled off your property that we can't get to from the side of the road or that you can't get to the side of the road. But overall, things are slowly getting back to normal. Kids went back to school today in most cases, so fingers crossed we have a quiet hurricane season.
I got to tell you, talking with a lot of people for New Year's, and a lot of people said, well, what did you do for New Year's? I said, I sat in a lounge chair and watched Netflix. I relaxed. I watched movies. And talking to a lot of people, I think that was just the thing to do this New Year's. People have been through so much. Now, some people, they're the perennial partiers. They're going to party. But for the most part, I think people taking a deep breath and trying to get their energy back.
Yeah, no doubt. You know, the weather was somewhat hot, but it was pretty. It wasn't rainy or nasty or anything like that. A lot of people just kicked back. I did the same thing, Martin. We drove back in from Texas on Friday morning, and I sat in my lounge chair and just watched some movies with the kids and the wife, and just realizing all we had been through in 2020, and just our prayer that 22 is a whole lot nicer.
Well, I appreciate what you have done in trying to get Lafourche Parish back up and running and working with all the sister parishes. And we certainly wish you and your staff a great 2022. Maybe we could start looking forward to some better situations. So thank you so much, Archie. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Martin. Happy New Year to you, too.
Same to you. All right, there you have it. The parish president of Lafourche Parish will continue. If you're watching this Bayou Time, you'll also see on some of the other Bayou Times, we're paying respect to the great, I call him the great, Dr. Al Delahaye. He touched so many people in journalism at Nicholls State University. He's certainly a legend. He wouldn't tell you he was, because that's how he was, but he was a legend. And sorry to hear about his passing at the age of 92. You can catch that on some of the other segments of Bayou Time. We'll be right back.